always great to be back and another full house. So congratulations to Jim for putting it together. Really appreciate it. Great work. It's always fun. It's like a reunion for a lot of us who've been here for a while, and it's, I don't know, I think of it as some sort of anniversary where we all get together. Today I'm talking about our ecosystem launch. As you might be able to tell from the slide, that's not our new logo. It's just kind of a green ecosystem-ish looking logo. So I'll get into that in a moment. But before I do, I just want to point out 2 big 5-year anniversaries for me over the past few weeks. First one, probably most important, my 5-year wedding anniversary. Obviously very relevant to everyone in this room, and I'm sure you can appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. It is relevant, though, and here's why. Only some people know that literally 20 minutes before I walked down the aisle to say my vows and be forever, bound with this woman, I also became forever bound with Google and literally signed the deal to sell Urchin to Google, sitting in my tuxedo, trying to warm my feet so I could make it down the aisle with a cold Pacifico in hand. So that was interesting. So that's the other 5-year anniversary was Google's acquisition of Urchin. And so, a lot's changed. It's been an amazing 5 years. And I'm always, at times like this when we all get together, I look back on where we've been, and I'm always amazed to see what has happened over the past 5 years. To me, it's fairly, it's worth a pause because it doesn't always happen that you get 5 years down the line, you go from humble roots to all of us joining Google to all the other people at Google that have joined this team and really made it what it is. And so that's pretty amazing. Usually I talk about in these launches, these feature announcement launches, all the great work that all these people back at Google have done, and not just at our main campus. We've got people in our Tel Aviv office doing fantastic stuff, down in Irvine, all over the world pitching in to do fantastic stuff for us. And we've got some of the best engineers and PMs that I've ever worked with and ever met, and marketing folks. So usually I talk about their work. Today I'm going to talk about some of their work, but also some of the work from other people. Today's focus is on the ecosystem around Google Analytics. At the center of that is you and whoever's using Google Analytics. But around that we've got integrated products, we've got our developers, and we've got our partners. So I want to touch on some of those things and tell you what's happening there. The first announcement I have is on the center of that, on the center of this diagram, at the center of the ecosystem, it's you and Google Analytics. And so the first announcement I have for you today is that Asynchronous is now going to be the default standard for our page tag. If you don't know what asynchronous JavaScript is, this is pretty game-changing. It's definitely industry-leading. We're basically putting out this JavaScript that will load in parallel with your website. So instead of the recommendation putting the tag at the bottom of your page, with asynchronous, you can put it at the top of your page, and it will load in a separate parallel track to your website. The nice thing about this is that it should speed things up a bit. And at Google, we have this goal of speeding up the web. It's part of our larger vision and one of the things that Google as a company is trying to do, and we're trying to encourage this behavior across the web. And this is one small part that our team can play in helping make this happen. So we're fairly excited about this. It's in beta for a while. This will now be the default. The reason you guys should care is not only is it going to potentially have some speed implications on your own site, and maybe you'll capture a little bit more data because before we'd recommend you put the page tag at the bottom, and if people clicked away, it might not have loaded. So you actually capture probably more of the visitor data. But the key thing for you guys is this one here. It's basically Google's no longer just using AdWords quality score. Sorry, that's not just being affected with your page load time. It's now on your organic or natural search results. All things being equal, the faster site's going to win. So it's one small part of many parts that go into figuring out how you're going to show up in the natural results, but it's an important one. So we think this is a big step forward, and we're pretty happy about it. For everyone here who's already using Google Analytics, you should upgrade to this one, to this new thing, and basically to the new JavaScript. And there's a link at the bottom there, but instead of trying to figure that out, just look for our blog post, and and link over to that. It's not too hard to upgrade, and I highly recommend people do. The next part of our launch today is around our developers. And does anyone here know how many integrations have been developed around Google Analytics so far, third-party apps that actually tie in to Google Analytics through our API or otherwise? Anyone have a guess? Yeah, it's really hard to figure out right now, right? And the answer is it's like roughly 38. I'm going to say 38. Could be 39. And so today I'm launching the App Gallery on the Google Analytics website. And so now you'll be able to go to the Google Analytics website, find all of the apps. You'll be able to very quickly figure out what's available. And we have some that we're featuring, some of our editors' picks and things like that, but you'll be able to see the whole list. And I really didn't know how many had been done. There was no central and easy way to find it, so this is going to help change that. I'm going to highlight a couple here just that I think are cool. Shuffle Point, I think the thing that they did is really unique. Basically, they took someone's really boring time that they had to do where their boss is saying, look, I don't want to go into Google Analytics, just send me it in a PowerPoint. Just take the screenshots and send it over once a week or however frequently. Some poor guy had to do that for his job for a long time, and it's fairly manual, and we're probably not something we were ever going to get around to do because we like to imagine you're going to be deep diving down and poking around the interface and segmenting 6 ways to Sunday and really torturing your data until it tells you what you want to hear. These guys took a very pragmatic approach and said, look, we know people have to do this, we're going to fix it, and they did. And it's one of those pretty cool things. And then, of course, with the iPad coming out, Google Analytics leverages Flash. You can't see it on the iPad. If you have an iPad, you want to use Google Analytics. These other guys, Analytics HD, made it so you can do that now. There's call tracking. There's referral visualizations. BT Buckets did this thing where it's integration with Google Analytics and Website Optimizer. These are just a few apps that I wanted to showcase. There are many more. It's worth taking a look. And then just today, of course, iPerceptions announced a new integration with Google Analytics, so this is hot off the press. And this is just to illustrate that many things are always coming down the pipe. So for me, this is pretty exciting. The fact the API is really taking off, the number of apps are taking off, and really the way the platform is being extended beyond anywhere where we might take it, and it's very powerful. And I think this is just the beginning. Okay, speaking of the API, the next thing to announce is within the API, we're now adding AdWords IDs. This is something that a lot of people asked about. Probably only a small percentage of the people in the room care about this, so I'll make it quick. But it's very important for people who are managing large sets of keywords, and they're trying to figure out if they're working, what's working, what's not, and especially if you're doing it in a programmatic way. These integrations are really going to help, or these 5 new dimensions within the API are really going to help. Okay, back to the ecosystem. Let's talk about more integrated products. And the one product that everyone always asks us to push on more integration, more integration, more integration every time is AdWords. So today I'm happy to talk a little bit about what we're doing there. We're trying to break down some of the data silos between AdWords and Google Analytics and make it more data readily accessible and get the product speaking the same language. If you notice right now, oftentimes, what you call something in Google Analytics is a little different than what you call it in AdWords. Sometimes they don't speak the same language, match types and things like that. And now you're going to be able to see this in the AdWords tab there. So first thing to point out is we have 10 new AdWords dimensions in these reports. And these include things like match type, as I mentioned, all these things that you're looking at here, placement URLs. I'll get into what some of these things are. And you can see these in the primary dimension or the secondary dimension, as I'll show you in a minute. The second thing I want to show you is within these AdWords tabs, what actually is shown there. Previously, we already had a couple of these reports. We've improved campaigns and keywords. We've added these 3, day parts, destination URLs, and placements. Let's take a look at what each one of these is. So, day parts. Everyone knows what day parts are? Very important if you want to try and spend the right money at the right time. Not just when people are coming into your site, but find when the buyers are coming into your site. And how do you do that? Here's looking at your visits over time throughout the day. Let's see what happens. When are the buyers coming in? There are the buyers. And that may be when you want to target your money. Maybe a little before that. There's maybe a little bit of a lag. But you can start to play with that a little bit, and right within Google Analytics, you can see this stuff without having to go back and forth between AdWords and GA, which is nice. All right, destination URLs. What is that? Does anyone know what destination URLs are? 3 people know what that is. Basically, this is where from your ads, from your keywords, where you're sending people within your website, right? The destination. Now you can see that right within Google Analytics. You can see not only the destination, but if you click on it, you can see the keywords that are driving people to that destination. So very simply and elegantly integrated right there. Probably asking yourself why it wasn't there before. I don't know. And also, if you do, this one's actually pretty cool. If you look, then you drill into the keyword, and then you pull up one of those secondary dimensions, one of the 10 new AdWords dimensions, such as matched search query. You can see not only the query that it matched on, but the actual query people typed in. And you can say, wow, this one is great. I'm just going to buy that one, the exact match on that. Or, I don't want that one. I'm going to cancel that out because it's matching to there, and it shouldn't because it's not actually driving conversions or. So very, very useful. Great information. Next is the placement report. Anyone know what placements are? Me neither. Can anyone else describe this? No, I can do it. I can do it. Okay, placement report is basically where your ads are being placed within the content network, Google's content network, right? So if you're running ads in the content network, this is where they're showing up, and you can see directly within GA where your ads are running, and if you click on it, you can see the exact pages within those sites that your ad's on. And you may find that certain pages perform well, other pages don't, depending on the content. And now you can use this information to tune your campaigns. So very, very valuable, very actionable, something that people have been asking us for a long, long time. So very happy to have that out. I also want to mention search funnels. Did anyone see that we launched this about a month ago or so? A couple people? A couple people mentioned it to me over lunch. I think this is really exciting. It's a really cool report. If you don't know what this is a report within AdWords. And essentially within AdWords, one of the things people talk about is it's great to see last click, but what about the attribution leading up to that? And that's what this is our first major step in trying to figure this out and help solve this problem. This is the attribution problem. And so it says, okay, great, the last click resulted in the conversion. What happened up until then? And if you look at the report itself, which I encourage you to do, go within AdWords and take a look at this, looks a lot like Google Analytics, doesn't it? Almost identical. You would think this is a Google Analytics report. It's because a lot of the people on our team were involved in building this out, thinking through the models, and some of the people are here today. They've done fantastic work. Some of the people aren't, but if you were around earlier, I think Jeff did a deep dive session on this. But if you haven't seen search funnels, take a look at it. This is one way we're taking, what you've seen, we're taking data out of AdWords and breaking down those data silos and putting it within Google Analytics. And then there's another way we're taking kind of our best practices and pushing them within AdWords and stretching what AdWords is able to do. And this is a first step. I think you'll see more on this without any, I'm not trying to predict the future, but maybe a little hint of the future. Who knows? Anyway, we're very excited about that. I think it's a good thing. Getting close. All right, fair enough. Good thing. I'm getting close to the end, too. So partners is my final area of the ecosystem I want to mention quickly. And everyone knows about our Google Analytics authorized consultants. They're no longer Google Analytics authorized consultants. They are now Google Analytics certified partners. We've got hundreds of these throughout the world. They're key to our business, and many of them are here. I think there are 8 of them speaking at the conversion conference. These are the industry thought leaders on many of these topics, and we're very proud and fortunate to have them within our ecosystem. They're a key driver for a lot of the things we do. The thing I want to mention about this is not just the name change, but also let you know that really, our partners were instrumental in coming up with a model at Google. And previously, it was kind of a shotgun approach to partner programs, and they had all these different names and badges and all these things. And we really centralized. We kicked off a process to centralize that whole thing, and it just launched finally. I don't know, earlier this month or earlier last month. So anyway, I'm very proud of that and very happy about it. It should put a lot of wind in the sails of all of our partners and those programs going forward. So that's what I had to announce today. That's what's going on with us. Pretty much right on time, huh, Jim? So anyway, there are 2 things I want to point out. First of all, there's going to be a book signing in, I forget what room, but something over here. Maybe something at our booth. And then definitely come get your picture taken with our hippo, if you haven't done that already. This one here. Here's my picture with our hippo. Probably can't see it, but if you could, it would be right there. And then here's the book by Caleb Whitmore, Justin Cutrone, Sebastian Tonkin. Sebastian was a former Googler, used to work on my team, good guy. I think he's here somewhere. You here, Sebastian? All right. Anyway, that's our ecosystem launch, and so hopefully what you'll see is something along these lines after your attendance at the show. So thank you, everybody. That's it for me.